Hi everyone, I am playing Saratoga, which is part of the Battles of the American Revolution series from GMT Games, and I've got it all set up. It's a 12 turn scenario, and I've done the first 2 turns because only the British get to do anything in the first 2 turns. And one of the interesting things in the first few turns is you have to roll if it's fog. I actually rolled clear, so there was no fog. So what the objectives for both sides, if you haven't played the game, the British, so got some red coats and some counters here, and then over here as well. They have got to either take this hex over here or that hex there. And the Americans, we will call them for the sake of this video, or the Patriots, or they have got to stop them, and they to gain a major victory, not only got to stop them, push them back and take this hex here, which has got some red coats on. The way that I'm playing this game solo, so the narrative that I'm going to be playing out over this evening, and maybe another evening as well, I might play over 2 evenings, is that the redcoats, the British here, are going to travel up the roadside alongside the Hudson River. And from experience, progress can be a little slow because you have to. That's not a bridge. And they will face some tough opposition at the top here, and then these redcoats here will move into and try and take Freeman Farm, and then these Hessians here will move along this road just off the map a little for a second. We'll move off to there and then move into Freeman's Farm area. Got some more Hessians coming up to support them. They'll engage the Patriots and the Americans at different points, and then we'll see if they are able to take the forts and these defensive positions here. Yes, it's only 12 turns, so it's not a huge length game. You can play this game from experience, this scenario, in a long evening, but I will probably take my time and do it over a couple of evenings. Because it's 12 turns, I may not do a recap every turn. I may do one every other turn. We'll see how depends on what happens in the turn. Done a couple of turns, and from the British perspective, they have been able to move up and take Freeman's Farm. Morgan and co were just not quite able. I thought they would be able to hold on to Freeman's Farm for a couple of turns, but a very bad dice roll in their sort of defensive fire against the British, and then the British had a very good die roll, so they were able to push them out. However, Morgan was able to rally. So, the British have this area here. They're bringing up more Hessians, and at the top road here, the British are starting to get into position to attack this hex over here. So, moving quite quickly in terms for the British, making good progress on their objectives, but they can get held up here still, or just hold them back before they can break this tree line and attack these defensive works here. So we're halfway through the game now, and yes, the British and Hessians have become a bit congested here. Haven't been able to move and progress quite as much as they would ideally like. And the next turn there will be some engagement between Morgan and co on this hill, defending that hill against the British. I mean, there's huge amount of counters. Some of them are off camera, but so it's just a question of these Patriots just slowing them down really and holding them up. Then on this side of the board here, as you can see, the British haven't been able to penetrate over this sort of these hexes here, and again the Patriots have been able to just push them back and hold them back, and again it's just slowing them up. At some point they will. I'm sure they will at some point. They do also have some more reinforcements coming up on the road there, but again it's just going to take some time. And it's quite an interesting scenario, this, really. It's been a little while since I've played it, and it's quite interesting playing it solo, sort of in your head, sort of going between what you think the best thing, what you think historically or in character of either side would do. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I want the British and Hessians to break it through, because then it'll be an almighty battle for these areas here. But at the same time, from a Patriots point of view, just holding them back and slowing them down, forcing the sort of the battle at their pace is what they would do, and that is, yeah, it's quite, the way I'm playing this game this evening, that's what they want to do. So it's quite interesting. I think at some point the British will push through, but it's whether they're going to have time enough to make the objective. And I was very tempted in the last turn, actually. It's quite interesting. I was very tempted almost to push the Americans on the British and try and take the objective, this British objective over here. But I felt that it still made sense to sort of let the British come and push them back before they switch that sort of stance. But yeah. So yeah, about halfway through the game. We are now at the end of turn number 8. The British Hessians are making some progress at the top of the map. We're able to push the Patriots back into their ramparts and defensive positions. On this side of the map, they're making progress, but it's much slower. Morgan and this counter here have just been able to hold them and stall them, really, from breaking out through the forest here in the woods into attacking the fort. There's 4 more turns left. The Redcoats and Hessians really got to make progress. I don't think the American Patriots will be able to push the British back and have enough turns to then go and take the objective over there. So I think instead what we'll do narratively, we'll be playing this as a defensive and just holding on to the key strategic points that they've got to. But yeah, moving at quite a nice pace over here. There's been some good combat, some interesting combat results. And yeah, 4 more turns left to go. So we're now at the end of turn 10. The Patriots have been able to repel all the British attacks on this side of the map. There's nothing the British have been able to do. They have inflicted a couple of casualties, but the Americans have been able to repel them. There are a few British units now disrupted. Yes, including Burgoyne's units as well. So not a great assault from the British, being repelled. This side of the map, it's sort of even Stevens at the minute. There are some key, there's plenty of units coming in. It's whether they can just dislodge the Americans who are bravely defending this area here, and being able to and have repelled some of the British and Hessian attacks. So 2 more turns left. So the game is finished. The British were able to capture the hex here, push the incredibly brave defenders out, who had done a sterling effort in defending, but in the end the British and Hessians were able to surround them and push them out and capture Arnold and take the objective. So technically that means the British have achieved a major victory, I think, without double checking the rules. This side of the map, the Patriots were able to really really defend really well. Phillips managed to breach and come into the hex, but no great effect really, to be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure. I think you can move into the hex. I'm not entirely sure. I think you can. Anyway, it doesn't matter because nothing major happened in that area. There's quite a lot of eliminated units on either side. I can't ever pronounce it. I'll pronounce it Burgoyne. Apologies for terrible pronunciation. Very poor job, really. Yes, not in the fight at all. Not very good. But a really nice narrative that played out. I kind of thought if I'm being honest, I thought the Americans would be able to hold on to this area. I didn't think the British and Hessians would have simply enough time to take the objective and would be repelled, as they were here, for example. So, and in fairness, that was due to some very, very unlucky die rolls for the Americans, especially with their artillery, and some very lucky die rolls for the British. I think every single one of their dice seemed to be an 8 or a 9, and everything for the Patriots seemed to be a 1 or a 2, as is the nature of our hobby sometimes. That was a lot of fun, and I'll just give you some concluding thoughts to the scenario. So yeah, it was a fun scenario. I actually did play it in one evening. I thought I would do about a half, just over a half, and go and do something else for the evening. But I actually found that I couldn't I couldn't stop. I wanted to finish the game, and that's a good sign for me. The game, this particular scenario, it's not got a huge number of chits. It's probably, I think, of all the games in the tri-pack, it probably is one of the longer games to play out and probably has the most number of chits, but still isn't a huge endeavour in terms of the amount of time. I played this over the whole course of a long play over the evening, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. I'm sure that comes across in the video. I felt, looking back, looking at the map, probably if I was playing someone who knew this game really well, they would be pointing out a lot of things that I maybe didn't do quite as well as I could playing both sides. But I still really enjoyed the game, and I really enjoyed the narrative that played out. In particular, this side, I can remember playing the first few turns, and I was kind of like, are the British even going to get anywhere near close to being able to attack, and what's going to happen? That sort of anticipation of how that attack might go was really enjoyable, and I think the game, this particular scenario, has that in spades, and I really, really enjoyed that. Interestingly, Freeman's Farm, the last time I played, that took quite a few turns to get through that area. This time it really didn't, so that's quite interesting. And I do feel there's a depth to this particular scenario where you could really play a few turns, reset, play a few turns, the same turns but a different way, and learn different strategies and so forth, and that would be again a very engaging experience. So yeah, really, really enjoyed that. I have a lot of love for this game series and this period of history. I am reading, I just went upstairs and dug out the book next to my bed that I'm reading at the minute, which is The Complete Victory, Saratoga and the American Revolution by Kevin Weddell, I think you pronounce it, and I'm enjoying that read. It is a period of history that I really enjoy learning more about. The politics, the history, sort of social politics, what it was like living during this period, as well as the sort of military campaigns and the various battles. So, that was a great evening's wargaming. That's almost like, for me, an ideal evening wargame. A really rich narrative. The mechanics are very straightforward. I'll do a full review of the tri-pack because I've done a few AARs now. I don't think I've done an AAR Brandywine. I haven't played that in a little while, so I might do that and then do a full review. But as you can probably tell, yeah, it's a game series that I really love, in fact, period of history that I love. And that was a great evening's game. So very, very happy. I'll go to bed a very happy wargamer, which is always good. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching as ever. Thank you.